Everybody, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Excellent. So my name is Gabriel Gutierrez. I'm the CEO and founder of Nascent Games and newly acquired Sacramento Indie Arcade, SIA, which really shouldn't be confused for the singer, so we won't go there though. So what we've done here, what I've done here is a number of things, and we're gonna talk about that this morning. Creating my character, and then ultimately what comes next. I've gone through a number of improvements in my life where Nascent Games ultimately began as just a simple game studio, just a simple startup indie game studio, and that's all I wanted to do. I moved here from New Jersey, and after losing my job, I came down here to start anew. And for me, just having a day job was not enough anymore. So for me, it became creating Nascent Games and taking my dreams and finally doing something with it, knowing that I didn't know anybody here 3,000 miles away from home. So Nascent Games was formed January 2012, about 4 months after I moved here. And again, as I mentioned, the idea was to just simply create fun and thought-provoking games. The current active projects I have now, 4, Crumple Episode 1, which after almost 3 years will finally be coming out next month. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it's been a long haul to get there. Then we have Kinship, Stalk, and then Schoolhouse, and highlight a few of these artwork, bit of artwork here. The biggest thing I wanted to focus on with my studio was not just making a game, was to actually find talent here in Sacramento. A lot of people were leaving Sacramento to go to San Francisco, to go to Austin, to go to Seattle, to go to LA. And no one was taking us seriously. We were the laughing stock, even though we were the capital. And I said, no, enough's enough. We needed to give these guys a reason to stay somehow. We didn't have a job market here in Sacramento, period, for game development. So I was aiming to change that. So long story short, now we've got, now I finally begun some ideas with how I was gonna get my game out there. Game pre-orders, because I was finally close enough to say, hey, game's coming out soon, let's talk a little bit more, check my stuff out, play my demos, if you like it, come pre-order. And then with that came soundtrack purchases, starting to create t-shirt merchandise with Amazon. We talked about you talked about Amazon earlier. They're not the best solution, but they were a great starting point. So, and thank you Amazon Prime, because you can get Amazon Prime with my t-shirt, so yes. So the idea now, we're now in 2016, I've made my first $135. That sounds like absolutely nothing, but guess what? That's a massive milestone for me. So absolutely awesome. So with all this being said, as I was finding talent, here in Sacramento, the idea was I was connecting with a ton of community members and other developers and designers who wanted to do the exact same thing that I was. And as Chris talked about earlier, IGDA Sacramento, which is International Game Developers Association, that came to life. I formed that chapter. I'm still running that chapter. And as I connected more and more with that community, I realized, hey, we're all in this together now. What else can we do? So thus came the Sacramento Indie Arcade. And with the Sacramento Indie Arcade, the idea behind that was one thing: give everybody an incentive to celebrate what they've started. Because one of the biggest issues we have here in Sacramento is that it's very easy to start something up, but not very often does we finish what we've started. So they needed a reason, and that's what I was aiming to do here, and we've done quite well with that so far. Now the question, of course, for 2016 was, and the Sac Indie Arcade, which way was it going to go? Was Indie Arcade going to be a nonprofit, or was it going to be a for-profit? I decided, smartly enough, put it under Nascent Games. Let's go forward from that, because we're now approaching our 4th event, and we've now gone from our first 2 events, which hovered about 250 attendees, to now near 600 at our last one just this past April in West Sacramento. We are anticipating probably about 700-800 now. Didn't see that coming. You can never be ready for something like that, but it's awesome that it's happening now. So because of that, because of the acquisition with Sac Indie Arcade, now my forecasting just skyrocketed from just a measly $100+ to now over $4,000, and then double that almost the year after that. So I have big plans now to expand on both my studio while giving back to the community, with the Sac Indie Arcade. So, and these are actually, I laughed when I saw these first two things, and wow, this was our first one, our first event, our second, our third, and this is our upcoming event this coming April in West Sacramento again. So what comes next for us? So the idea behind this is simple. I'm now trying to expand on the relationships that I've developed both for my studio and with the community to help them create their own businesses. He's living proof right here. He showed his product at my event. And also one of my other members in my chapter just won a Rails grant, Square One Clubs. He came from my chapter. And I'm damn proud of that. And so, but now it's my turn. I need help now. And so this has been great to help everybody else. It's been wonderful. Now I need a little bit of help because now my own events are taking off, and as well as people are actually caring about my games. So, but now what am I doing? Am I sticking with with the game development community? Absolutely not. We have a massive independent film community here in Sacramento. Independent music in Sacramento is huge as well. I'm already in talks with to forge relationships with both of them to have them included in our Sac Indie Arcade event. And the idea behind that is a lot of our game developers who have now needed help with getting film connections, music connections, because they can't afford it, on their own. Now I'm bridging those gaps. But that takes money, and my Indie Arcade event takes money to help make those things happen. So with that, ultimately, once I continue forging those relationships, I want to turn Indie Arcade from a one-day event into a weekend-long event, and we want to implement educational sessions, a lot more inclusion into the events, and then ultimately sharing the knowledge that we've learned, through our events in the IGDA chapter, and further after that. So, I believe that is my contact information there. So,
thank you, Gabe. So you already talked about it a little bit, but what can the community do to help you out?
I really, at this point, need to be connected with either a bank or a credit union member for some small business help that actually cares about what I'm trying to do here. Not just asking me how much money are you planning to make. I want someone to actually care about what we're doing here, because there wasn't a job market here when I came here, and now there is. So, and I'm not taking 100% credit for that, because my chapter, my studio, and my Indie Arcade is defined by my people that attend and by my developers that show it. And guys like Chris, guys like Square One Clubs who won the grant, they're living proof of that. So I need someone who not just can help me monetarily, but actually care about seeing it grow further than what I've already done.
So now open it up for questions, and you can call on whomever.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So as we grew TQ, we went to your guys' place, the expo, and it was $10. And now that we actually have more money, I've looked at other expos, and they're $135 to $1,000. And part of me, my advice to you is we grew from $1 to $3,000 by getting the people around us to support us who are willing to find that price point. I'm telling you, as a customer, $10 was a no-brain decision, and I think you should make that price point higher to help you raise more money. Please stay under the $1,000 thing, but
yes,
this is a recommendation.
With the competition in Sacramento, there really hasn't been competition with the type of event that I'm doing, which is both good and bad. But the idea behind with the pricing scheme initially, because the Indie Arcade formed from my chapter, that's where the question was: do I keep it as a nonprofit event, or do I make it a for-profit? So I'm going to be very realistic when it comes to the pricing point, because I make it inexpensive online. I increase it a few bucks more for those who didn't buy online and show up at the door. Charge a few bucks extra for vendors and so on and so forth. When I start implementing the educational aspect, having actual learning sessions during the event. There's an event in San Francisco called Game Developer Conference, GDC, and they do that exquisitely well. But they're like a week long, and it's during the week. So I still have a day job, and I don't have $2,000 to just burn, or normally not a week of PTO time to just do that. So,
and I think it's really cool that you let small studios come for a little price, I'm just saying maybe like scale it as the studio size grows.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, it's essentially based on the table. You know, if you need more than one table, I'll charge you more. So, but I'll also help, include you to bring a little bit more of your team if you have that. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering how much, well, two questions. How many do you employ?
It's just myself right now. I have a few volunteers, that help me out. I've contracted a few folks to help me with both my game and my Indie Arcade event. But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately why I'm looking for help, because I want to start hiring. I want to bring on 1 or 2 people to start expanding on that. Even if it's part-time, it's jobs and it's something. So, yeah, I'm trying to go there now at this point. I don't want to keep contracting. So, yeah.
Do you know how much you're looking for?
Right now, because the revenues are still pretty lean. I mean, I'm looking at it on a 3-year goal, so probably somewhere around 45 to 55,000. So that would cover the next 3 years, because if I'm going to incorporate educational sessions, and I need to find people, and the advantage is that we're very fresh here. It's very green here. But the huge disadvantage is a lot of the people that have done this sort of thing are not here. So they're out of the area. They're in LA, they're in San Francisco, and that doesn't always come cheap. So, so I need to be ready for that. And plus of course, legalizing everything. Like I've trademarked and copyrighted stuff for my studio, but I'm going to be doing it now with the Indie Arcade. So, yeah.
I'd like to exchange cards with you.
Sure, you got it. No problem. Yes, sir.
So are your games
And thank you.
app-based or fake social media-based, or how do you play your games? Where do you find them?
My games right now will be, for the moment, on PC, desktop, laptop, as well as the Amazon Fire tablet. So the one game that I have coming out very soon is playable on both platforms. I had debated doing on a mobile app, but maybe it's my old school mentality getting in the way. I like a big screen, and my games need real estate to see what we've done. The efforts that we've made. And it's not to rule out that I won't make a complementary app to sort of something separate that'll benefit the full game. I have all those plans in place, but for now it's PC as well as console, because I'm in talks with Nintendo and Xbox, Microsoft, to get it out there.
So then, have you reached out to Mark Otero from Capital Games?
So I tried to find him about 3 years ago and never heard back. So, and we tried multiple times, and in fact, people who actually had worked for him, who had still stayed in touch with him, they tried to reach him too. And I don't know whatever came from that. So I've really been on my own with the support of those who actually believe in this. But yeah, I haven't actually connected with. I've actually had more luck with Rob Winkler from Fifth Planet.
Okay.
He's been a massive supporter on all of this. So I've had one-on-ones with him about where we're going with this, and he loves it. Any other questions? Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, yes.
When is your next expo?
So forgive me I want the stigma behind the word expo or con. I'm trying to actually remove that now, because when we started, we had called it Sacramento Indie Arcade Gaming Expo. Too many words. I don't have that kind of time. So for me, it became a thing was, we're an arcade. When you come there, you are going to play a ton of games, and you're going to have one-on-one interaction with that developer who happens to live in your neighborhood. Not, very rarely can a con or an expo actually say that, because a lot of times they're in other countries, or out of this, or out, opposite end of the country, so on and so forth. So the idea is that the Indie Arcade is not just a con. It's not just an expo. It really is meant to. You're going to come into my event. You're going to see all the games, and the goal is you're going to be so inspired that you want to learn where to begin now. And that's where I'm trying to take the next step with this. Because like I said, GDC, Game Developers Conference, does that so well. But again, it's so pricey. And San Francisco, people are paying $2-3 grand for a table. And then that's not including hotel, that's not, a week of hotel in San Francisco. Seriously, here's my life. It's just, as you know, we're independent for a reason. You know, we don't have anyone helping us out on a marketing employee and things like that. So, you know, so we have to keep realistic on that. So that's actually, so the next one will actually be Saturday, April 8th in West Sacramento at the West Sac Community Center. So indiearcade.org. So
Who's been to the Indie Arcade?
that's two more.
Guys should go.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's really fun, even if you don't make.
I'm not even a gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part. Like when non-gamers show up and they actually have more fun than the gamers do. So that's not really not something I expected. But it's a beautiful thing because, you know, the great thing is I'm very proud of is that parents bring their kids. It's an all ages event, obviously, but when parents bring their kids, you know, it's because the kids want to, you know, have, you know, made this, but they're dying to learn what to do next. You know, they come to me. Like, one of the best things I can brag about before we call it a day here is that our most recent event, a father had brought 3 of his kids, 2 sons and a daughter, and he came up to me at the end of the event. You know, he said, you know, are you the guy that runs the event? I'm like, yeah, that's me. He said, so look, I've been here all day. He's like, my feet hurt. He's like, and I'm like, sorry, like do we need to sign waivers? I mean, what happened? What happened? The thing with him was saying, no, I need you to understand. He's like, my kids are over there still playing. You're closing your event. They don't want to leave. And, you know, he was like, for the first time in any place we've attended, we're normally there for 1-2 hours tops, but we've been here all 7 hours, and they don't want to go. He's like, so I don't know what you've done. He's like, well, whatever you've done, you need to keep it going. And that felt so good to hear. And also, you know, to add on that, you know, at the end of our event, the other 3 events, people have left 4:30. It's been good. Thanks for everything. See you next year. Maybe 20, 30 people hang out. We still had 150 people just chilling, playing games, and just waiting to hear what's next. That felt so good. To me, that was a massive success. You know, when that many people remained, knowing it was over. So, thankfully, they helped clean up too, which is great. So,
what kind of people aren't coming to the expo that you would like to see, or to the arcade that you'd like to see at the next one?
honestly, Mark Otero. I want to see, EA Capital Games is right in Sacramento. I've not heard a peep from them. And to me, that hurts.
He's not with EA anymore.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I heard he
Yeah.
retired, but it's like we've been doing this for a number of years now, and I know they have heard because we've had people who don't work there anymore come through. But I want to start seeing people who are there, and that's who I would love to see. I mean, because I'm getting people from the Bay have come through, which I didn't expect, you know, because again, San Francisco. But, you know, I've had my last event I had developers as far as San Diego. They drove up to my event. And I said, they're emailing telling me this. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, I won't be upset. And they're like, no. We've seen what you're doing. Please. And they show up. Now, actually, and I forgot to mention this earlier, we have our first international developer to kind of coincide with the indie film thing that I'm trying to do. The big I guess benefit with that developer, he's in Singapore. And the voice actress for the main character in his game happens to live here. She heard about me through my indie film thing that I'm trying, that I've started up now, and now she's going to show his game at my event. So we've got a Singapore-made game at our event. That's a huge deal. And he may actually try to come here because he's finishing his Kickstarter. I hope he won because I think last night was his last night. So things like that is what I'm trying to do. So
You might be able to get Mark as a speaker, and we could talk later.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
some connections to him.
Certainly, yes.
To create more awareness to your events, have you thought about making it a virtual event as well so people can compete worldwide?
That's funny. Someone said that to me 3 days ago because they saw my event too. They're like, "Hey, I'm in the They're like, "Hey, I'm in the UK." That was good. I was like, virtual event. I'm like, maybe we can do that. So it's
And
funny
with
that I'm
the-
hearing that.
With the popularity and how big like VR and augmented reality is going to become in the next few years, just as a hook, you get some people like that, Oculus or some sort of VR company to come up, set up a station, and just create even a little more wow factor
Mhm.
and futuristic feel to it.
Oh, I love that. So when two people tell me that in under a week, yeah, that's probably something I can consider. So thank you. That's actually really good.
Okay, last question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you guys are located in West Sacramento. Where in West Sacramento?
So so it's funny. I'm a home-based studio right now in Rancho Cordova. West Sacramento Community Center just happens to be that welcomed us in, like with open arms. Plus, they were very cost effective and had a lot of space to offer. Like we have the entire community center, with our black box theater where our speakers and panelists will be, and so on and so forth. I want to go into, get either closer into this area or into West Sac, but yeah, I mean, that's a longer term goal. So, like I don't mind doing everything from home, but a point's gonna come where I need a new set of windows in my house. So, but thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dave.